So as the preview is, Naruto got done with Mark 2, and he builds a base in the mist. He calls it Base Zero. The villagers help out. They're doing good so far. They think Naruto is his Hokage. They could basically say Hokage instead of Hokage. And then we had a 1 year time skip, which is now Shinzo is now 15 years old and Minto is now 13. Naruto is now 9 years old at this time, and he completes one of his set goals, like into to-do list. He creates a satellite and launches it into space with a correct angle. So now it's in orbit and it analyzes space itself and Earth. While it does this, it sees some of Kurama's chakra. So he heads there because Biju wasn't fully sealed yet. He goes there and he finds Kurama. He asks Kurama 3 questions since he's fully up now. And while this all happens, they answer questions and they got to Kurama revealing Sage of Six Paths plan. The plan was that one day that humans might start using Bijus for war. So Kurama, I really can't say his name right, but Sage of Six Paths told him that one day a human will come and clad metal in like a hot rod red, basically in red and yellow. He said. So by doing this, he would have the technology to seal you, that how you want to be sealed, or might even free you to roam a planet or something. So while that happens, that's exactly what Naruto does. He creates a Biju reactor, which can contain the chakra of the Biju. And while this all happens, he decides that it would be best if I create like 5 more of these, which I can independently seal you, and then I can launch you onto a planet. So while this happens, Naruto finishes up with the Biju reactor. Kurama is fully sealed in that Biju reactor, but he can have free will, free control, and it's also going to instantly create him a body. So right now he doesn't have the body component because you have to use one of his armors. So you have to create another Mark 1 or Mark 2. So while this happens, Naruto is now working on another Mark 1. So as the Mark 1 is being created, he asks Kurama like what designs you want to do for it. So he gets the design of a human, but with tails and you could say with whisker marks on it. So it's kind of like his basic design, but not like that. So as this goes on, the armor is completely finished, and now to run some check moves on it. So he asks Jarvis, and Jarvis comes to life and say, "What do you need, Master?" And now to say you run a check on Mark, you say 1.2. So as this all goes on, Mark 1.2 checks out on everything other than the green. So we could say weapon systems online, security, safety systems online, fight systems online. Everything's good to go except one. He just have to execute the Biju, which means measure how much power he has and see if the armor can contain him. And then Naruto's completely asking that question. Like, are you sure this metal rod thingy can hold my power? And it ran off. I said no, because the Nine Tails is the strongest Biju. It can only hold 2% of its chakra, and it's 99% of its chakra remaining. So what he does is he gets some more armor plating, and he fixed it up in the inside and outside. So as this goes on, it's ready to go for test flights with safety controls, which means no one can override it, and you're not even Nine Tails if he does something bad. He enters the Biju reactor, and it takes some time. Nine Tails is being transferred with Jarvis in it, so he could see what the Nine Tails see. As this went on, Nine Tails' body was created inside of the, you could say, Iron Man, but you could call it Iron 9 because it's Nine Tails, so it's Iron 9. The villagers already know what Naruto was doing, so it was pretty much sealed. So as this was going on, since the Biju is finally free and has his own body that is almost impenetrable, this happens, and then we have to go back to college. So as Naruto goes back to college, he has a complete connection with Kurama in his head because Travis is also in his head, so his own AI. From basically think of it as Mass Effect Andromeda, Sam's node, like that. So then, while we're doing all of this, Naruto passes again. He only has one F and one class because Naruto really didn't excel in some jutsus because they wasn't really fitting for him. So as this goes on, some more and some more, we finally get 2 years in Chunin in college. As Naruto passes Chunin college, they all graduate, and now they're all Jonin. So Team 7 is a Jonin. Remember that Team 7 is also split to Obito and Kakashi because the massacre never happened yet. So you might be asking, where is Naruto's parents? They are still alive, just in case somebody was wondering or they didn't get the memo from part one. But yes, they are still alive from the racing Naruto. So, because he's in college, you don't really get to see them that much. So as this goes on, Naruto completely finishes his college with outstanding grades, just with one F. And so does Shinzo Mento. Well, her Mento. As they pass, Shinzo has a lot of B's in almost every class, and Mento has A's. Finally, you could say. He was studying real hard last night. So, as this was going on, they all celebrate, go home, and they party. As they was partying, Jiraiya came because he left. He's the principal, so he left. And one of his spy networks said that there's a group hunting tailed beasts. Sorry. So as he was hunting tailed beasts, they had their name Akatsuki, and so far they have the two tails already. So he alerted the village, and the village was put on maximum lockdown, which was funny, which means no one can exit or enter the village except Naruto because he could fly, and you don't really see that many flying shinobi. So as this was going on, the Nine Tails was also inside the village in Naruto's basement because he's not in the Mist Village. I mean, he is, but there's a camera that hollow program, which means you can see it, but you can't touch it. So like that. So as this was going on, Naruto and the Nine Tails connected, and we started hunting Biju as well. So now, as this was going on, Minato and his wife started training Naruto some more. So he's getting stronger. And Minato and Kushina, Minato's wife, thinks Shinzo is going to be the next prophecy because his strength attribute. And so they do a family contest to see who will win. So since his stuff is already upgraded, it can fit on his ring that he made. So when he's fully using it, it's just gonna pull itself down. No, let's change that. It's gonna fly to him like the mark where Tony Stark uses in Iron Man 3. If it's gonna basically fly to him if he need it. So if he tap the ring, now if he rub the ring, it's gonna fly to him. Or tap it, don't really matter to me. So they start fighting. Naruto is using nothing but ninjutsu at this point, and fake wooden kunai and swords. It's just rolling that out. Shinzo looked like he was coming on top, but Naruto was just holding him down. So it's an even battle. Then Shinzo reinforces kunai, or his sword, with chakra, and it starts whooping Naruto's kunai he was using. So when Naruto had separated his kunai and split it because it's made out of wood, so he had splinters. So he basically just made sure the kunai would break and release splinters. They all hit Shinzo, and Shinzo was a little bit of pain if he moved his limbs as it hit him in his legs. So he got really mad and he released the Nine Tails chakra, which is 1%, just to let you know. he immediately went into the first Tails mode, where like the chakra cloak of the Nine Tails. So as this was going on, he had nothing to do but watch. I'll show you a few pictures in a minute of what the armor looks like and what the next armor is going to look like, since it's going to be a spoiler anyway. So as this was happening, Naruto beat Shinzo, and now the Nine Tails got released since he's using the Nine Tails chakra. So he's still going to beat Naruto with his first chakra cloak. So it kept escalating to 2 tails, to 3 tails, to 4 tails. Now he needed to be put down since he's causing a ruckus. Then all you see of a sudden is the Biju Bomb coming in. He's trying to eat his Biju Bomb. Naruto already knows what that is. And as you know, they're fighting in the kind of a desert area in their backyard, training ground Naruto made earlier. Well, you know, listen, Minato made earlier, not Naruto, my bad. So as it was happening, Minato was already preparing defense spells, like seals, around the area so that Biju Bomb would be contained. But he needed a lot since there was a lot of holes, which means if Minato messes one up, the whole Konoha is going to be in danger. So as he knew that, he had released, when Naruto had tapped his ring and iron armor came down. He got his hammer, well not hammer, but hand piece on, and it started escalating on to his elbow, to his shoulder joint, and the rest of the armor came with the mask flying in. As Naruto turned around, it hit him, and now the armor is fully on Naruto. So is he surprised how it flew by itself with nothing piloting it. Danzo is also watching this battle in the bushes with his ambu to arrest Naruto for holding technology. So as this happened, boom, Naruto defeats Shinzo before, well, he basically ate the Biju Bomb and shot it at Naruto. Naruto survived with his armor, and he goes over there to Shinzo and punches him in the guts 2 times. Shinzo, in his fourth cloak of the Nine Tails chakra, limps as that was some heavy punches with PSI attached to them. So as this happened, Shinzo was defeated and the chakra cloak rear off. Then they get jumped by people from Danzo. Minato is already knocked out from the peer pressure of you could say the pressure coming out from that blast attack that hit Naruto's armor, which was absorbed thanks to him forging chakra metal. So basically everyone's knocked out and Naruto's taken away. And he basically, the armor was still on him. So they was trying to investigate his armor, so he's locked up with chains now. Chakra imbued chains, which means, a normal shinobi wouldn't be without that, especially a genuine one. That's what they think he is. Well, that's what his people think that Naruto is. But in truth, he is a Chunin just about to become a Jonin. So he's going to use Anbu, who's a Jonin rank right now. So is he trying to, them and their scientists trying to open up the armor to get to Naruto? Because Naruto is kind of knocked out right now. You might be asking how he got knocked out. That's because Danzo, he released something into the armor and knocked Naruto out. So as this was happening, they dragged him across town to, well, let's say Danzo used the Mangekyou Sharingan that he got from Sasuke's sister. No, let's say Itachi's sister. And everybody knew about it, but they didn't know who attacked him in general. So that's what happened. So as this was going on, Naruto woke up and he seen them trying to open up his armor. So he pretended to still be asleep. And then the scientists still couldn't figure out how he opened the armor or how he take it off. So it was pretty strange for him to take it off or take it back on. So they run some more tests and more tests and more tests. So one researcher had a big brain and said, "What if we just get a sample of the armor? We get to know how it works." So as they get some devices, some kunai, and see if they can scrape off some of that armor, they would create a spark, and the kunai is nearly obliterated from the armor because it was enhanced with chakra. So it basically absorbed it almost. You could say the kunai basically just melted since it was overheating anyway. So they got a few samples from it. They tested it out. It was a chakra metal. To them, it was a weak chakra metal because they're not a blacksmith. They can't see the true quality of it. So Jarvis reminds Naruto that his power reserves are starting to run down because the beast bomb did like drained Naruto's battery, his arc reactor, down to you could say 30%, which is still for a long time since he was in that room chained up for 3 days. And you might be wondering, how is he still not was still there for 3 days? That's because Minato and Kushina is put under a genjutsu that they cannot break out from. Well, I want to say break out from. I would say they let it them because they beat Shinzo up. Well, now to beat Shinzo to in a bad state, even though he was just defending himself. So now, yes, Naruto is being neglected at this point in time, and his villagers are starting to hate him. That's why he attended college, and after this college, well, tuning college, he's going to leave this. What do you call it? Konoha village, Atlanta Fire. He's going to leave from there and head straight to base zero. So as he goes to base zero after this arc, so now he wakes up and he realizes that while his suits are below 30% in power, he can't use his weapons because they will do some real damage here. And as he looked around, there is stuff that can't set stuff on fire. So he will basically killing people and people that's innocent as well. So Downzo asks the ardent person, Naruto, I want you to make some of these things for me. And then well, basically he said why. Naruto, that's what Naruto said why. And Danzo said, here, look straight into my eye. I can show you. Naruto looked straight into his eye, and as you knew it, he had a Mangekyou Sharingan. But it was right now, it was just in his Sharingan force, he said. As it went to his Mangekyou and back to a 3 Tomoe, to nothingness. So that's not anticipated, because he already has his own Sharingan and Byakugan. Two of the strongest dojutsus right now that he has in his arsenal. So it doesn't work. He's not under that Jinjutsu because Danzo never put him in one with the Sharingan or Mangekyou Sharingan. So Naruto, he opened his palm and starts designing a device like he said. Boom. He gave it to him, and boom, that is his enhanced paper bombs. Because Danzo was spying on Naruto when he was inventing his grenades. He also opens up his shoulder blade that protects his shoulder, and a missile popped out. And he said, "Here, this is a missile. Just throw it where it's going to go, and it's going to explode." Is he tracking? So be careful because that will happen. And he said, "Danzo, this is going to be the last time I ever work with you," and blah blah like that. In return, he said, "Since this armor is made out of metal, I'll give you some mithril." Because mithril is pretty common to give to somebody if they give you some enhanced weapons. He says it's a good price to pay. So that's exactly what happens. And as you could think of it, Naruto got even richer. He left his village as soon as he got done with tuning exams. He went back to his parents' house, and his parents completely hated him. They even tried to attack him, but his armor saved him, and he told the he went to his attic, and like I said, Jarvis' hard drive was already moved, so it's not there no more. I'll be right back. So, like I was saying, Naruto basically just go into his lab and grab some of that chakra metal. He didn't use that much to make the armor anyway, so he grabbed the rest of that armor. And he also has in there that neutral making method, so he took that as well. And also, if you're wondering how you're going to take all of that, that's because he has already invented a device called storage box. It holds things in a storage and it can also fly. So, yeah, it's basically part of his armor that flies off and back. So while this happens, Naruto is instantly making some armor as he wondrously take all that back to base zero because he's being hated. He didn't let it get the best of him. Like, I mean, it was about to crack him. And he finally at the last one when Jiraiya, no, let's say Minato teleports to Naruto right on his way to his base zero. He was on the ground because he know Naruto was gonna teleport. Naruto teleports while Naruto's not in his armor, and he punches Naruto and say, "You should leave. This family doesn't welcome you." Shinzo is already bitter in combat. Then you only won because you had cheated, and in this family, no one cheats. So Naruto was truly broken then, and he called his armor back because his armor was hiding because he didn't know if she was the enemy or not. King picked up Naruto and fully merged with him, so he's fully in his armor now, and he moves to the village of the mist. So while this happens, he immediately went to the village, and everybody welcomed him there. But in Konoha, Jiraiya is over here back at Toad Sage, and Toad Sage explains that Naruto might be the one chosen from the prophecy because of his geniusness and how it says in the prophecy that someone will travel and explore, and with iron, which means that it has to be Iron Man, which is Naruto. And he also mentioned that the prophecy changed, that it would no longer be in favor of, as you guessed it, Konoha. And thanks to other summoners that's in different villages, and Tailed Beast, since the Nine Tails was directly talking to them now, they could hear his power through sheer sound. So his chakra is making sound while people from the village couldn't even see it or hear it, even if they had Sharingan or the Bakugan. But since Naruto has the upgraded version of theirs, of course he can see and hear it. So when Naruto arrived, he explained to what happened to him, and the villagers all welcomed him into theirs. And now they all have Iron last name because they've been great over the years. When he was in college, they was thriving, and he was also make something for Naruto when he got out of college. What is the best time to give it to him? Of course, it will be now. They gave him something they created with the help of Jarvis, because they got their own system printer that can print almost anything, and they basically 3D printed him a birthday cake, since today is technically not his birthday, but it's his day of getting out. And one of the villagers had a smart idea to create flavored water. So yeah, flavored water was pretty hitting it in there with some root beer. Yeah, that's hitting it. It was busting, you could say. So as the party went on for one day, at nighttime everyone started packing up and went to sleep. So the area that was partying in was pretty much clear. It was all clean. As Naruto went to sleep, the armor was assembled off him before he went to sleep, of course. And he was working with the Nine Tails. Naruto explained to the Biju that the Biju would be coming here in approximately, you could say, 30 days. But Naruto told him that some of them have a problem. So the only people who can be coming will be Killer B with the 8 tails, and the third tails. Well, the third tails was obliterated and still inside of the statue. But it turns out that it was the 0 tails because he only had 1 tail on it. Well, you could say 0 tails on it. So the 0 tails was, yeah, in there. And as this was happening, the rest of them didn't want to come. So now I have to go hunt them down before the Akatsuki did. But it was already too late. 4th tail was already taken, and so was the 8 tails, 7 tails, 6 tails, and 5 tails with the 4th one. So he has everyone except the 9 tails. Since it was only clone, they won't have enough chakra. But if they go with Shinzo and Mento, they would have enough chakra. So Naruto went back to Konoha just to only get banished. And he can't enter, so he told him that the Akatsuki was coming, and he left. That was the final straw. Naruto even forgave them when Minato came and punched him and told him that it's not within his family to cheat. When the whole time, Shinzo was cheating because he was using chakra. Even though it's a family contest, he was supposed to be enhancing your weapon with chakra. No jutsus. So, as this happened, Naruto was seeing with their own eyes how they cheated. And then he created the rest of the Biju reactors. Naruto told him about the ghetto statue in the village of Whirlpools, which was originally sealed by the Sage of 6 Paths, and was also in the old town of the Uzumaki clan. So Naruto went to and pay a visit there, and on his way he noticed living conditions since it was burned down, and he seen Uzumaki survivors. They wasn't really striving, so Naruto helped them, and they was all assisted back to the village of Mist. Some of them went to Konoha to figure out answers why, like, Minato didn't come to visit at all. And Naruto was stunned when his brother's sister came. We could just say that his name is Shiraku. Yeah, he's basically, short name would be Shiranko or Shiranku. So you kind of get the point there. So as this was happening, he decided, yeah, you are the worst parents ever. But it didn't really let Naruto and Kushina down because they didn't care. So he left and went back to the village of Mist. There they was welcomed and greeted. And Naruto ran into the Akatsuki there. There might be asking, what people did he run into? And it was simple. He ran into Toby, specifically his strongest stronghouse, and he noticed that some of his attacks were going straight through. So he pulled out one of his unknown tactics, a swallowing bomb. He launched it into the air. It went to space and went back with more force than what it was intended for. And it bursted open, creating a cage. And he was locked down into the ground. And he said, "Night night," initiating his electric fence through the wires. And just like that, Toby was out cold. He wasn't dead, but he was knocked out. And he didn't find the rest of the Akatsuki because it was already sent out. Toby disappeared strangely, and Naruto did find the ghetto statue. So he created a little camera from his 3D printer in his hand. And he basically just put it behind the Geto statue to seal it. He created another seal in the Geto statue that it won't activate. He knew it was going to be broken soon, but not that much time. So Naruto also left. During the time, Pain already went to Konoha and was being destroyed. Everybody was wondering where the young man was. Of course, since he was banished, and y'all know him as Naruto, he started begging Minato to get Naruto. And he did because Shinzo was captured, and right in front of Minato, Shinzo lost 1% of the Naruto's chakra. So he was gonna die real quick, and Naruto had something to save him in the attic. So Naruto rushed to the attic and tried to burst open the wall that was protecting the attic. Of course, he did not get in because it was bolted shut. Like I said earlier, no one could burst in that. He tried to use jutsus on it, but it was just absorbing energy. And then he knocked on it, and finally the doors opened. He was let into the room where Naruto was. And there he saw, you could say, Mark 0. You could just say Mark 0.1 that he created earlier that failed. As the rest of the Uzumakis were playing with Naruto's hounds. It was like dogs and lions and leopards, everything he captured over the years. So while all this was happening, Naruto was living a great life in his own village, and drivers alerted him because the vid came on, which was the other drivers over there at the attic explaining how FaceTime works. So basically, Minato FaceTime Naruto to tell him to come to the village. Sorry about the distraction, I'm watching my baby sister. But while this was all going on, she was just living her best life, trying to take care of Jinzu, but since that opportunity went through the window, and also Minto was captured and also got the 0.8% of the chakra extracted from him, which is now 1.8% of the Nine Tails, which was fully captured. So Pain did the worst thing that anyone could do, just like in canon. He used Almighty Push, which everybody knew that Naruto lived there, so it means he had to have some type of protection, which turned out right. As soon as they seen a wall starting to appear to block out the force of the Almighty Push, and while that all happened, they were saved by Naruto's mentions before saying shutdown mode initiated. Naruto knew the situation that they was in because of Jarvis and Naruto telling him to come back to the village. He came back to the village with a few of, you could say, the BG reactors, not arc reactor, but yeah, with some of the BG reactors to capture the Akatsuki, because they also have the BGs with them. For safety, they also sealed some of the chakra and seals on their bodies. So Naruto came with Mark II, and Toby already alerted him that Naruto was coming. So as he arrived, it was too late. Shinzo and Minto was already on the verge of dying. So as this was happening, he figured that they basically need the Bijus right now. So he placed 2 Biju reactors on Shinzo and Minto, keeping them alive for now. He's basically, because if you remove the seal on a balloon, the chakra will start rushing out and gushing. Like a dam of water has a hole in it and all of that water is leaking out. That's exactly what the chakra is doing in their bodies right now. So he was also safely extracting the Nine Tails from them as well, so which means they would no longer be Jinchurikis. So as this was happening, Naruto defeated the robotic Pain, and things left without doing 3 more Almighty pushes on a larger scale each time. And he also created a huge meteorite coming straight to Earth, 3 of them, Naruto had to save the village. So he went straight up to three of them and started firing missiles. Well, his suit started firing missiles while he kept trying to pull up one more meteorite. So that's just all going on. Naruto exploded the one he was on. Well, you could say that Pain obliterated all of the meteorites into smaller pieces. So Naruto has to do the one thing he knew he should not do right now. He used his chest blast, and it was really big, so it basically just put a hole in the sky. And the temperature was just so hot that it was like they're coming close to the sun. So of course all of them was obliterated. Naruto saved the village, but he only obliterated two of them. So the last one crashed, landed on Konoha. And there we go. The illusion was completely destroyed thanks to the meteorite landing in the forest. And we also have the finished product that was going down. So as this was going on, I'm looking through my notes right now. So as this was happening, he actually figured out that this was going to happen. So yeah, he saved the village, but not the other side of the village. So he left. We'll just try saying thank you, but Naruto told him the truth of what not his parents did, and they were ashamed of themselves. Even Naruto told him about the Uzumaki's past. And Naruto didn't want to save the village because of the elders and what they did. At this point, the elders knew that they had to sacrifice the Uchiha clan to get their eyes to become more weapons for the Anbu. Of course, Naruto already alerted the Uchiha clan, and some of them stayed behind because they didn't believe Naruto ordered. So which means, yes, the Konoha did get some Uchiha eyes. Rest of them left and fled with Naruto, also going back to base 7. Well, not base 7, but base 0. So, as this was going on, Naruto finally did the best thing he could do. He celebrated because he had some of the Nine Tails. He also gave it to Kurama with his. So you could say now Naruto is extremely powerful. His nanotech, you could say it's 80% done in total. So now since it's 80% done, he tries testing it out. Yes, it does a nanotech thingy. It's small, then it develops real quick. More upgraded weapons and explosives and all types of things. And he also has to drive what's next on his list, and he has to do so as he gave up his chakra for the Nine Tails, and as this was also happening, he took back the rest of the Konoha villagers back to where they originally belonged, the Mist, Base 0. Way more advanced than theirs, and so much better in general. So that's when Naruto parents really got angry at him, so he really did get banished. And some of the bad villagers stayed, and the elders, of course, never changed. But Tsunade and Jiraiya seeing the change, so they stopped visiting Konoha to tell them about the prophecy. So Naruto has become genius, and finally we got ourselves the really good year. We will have us a 3-year time skip. So Shinzo is now 17 years old, and so is Mento will be 15, and Naruto will be 12 years old now. So yeah, we're in that 12-year mark. So this is part 3. I can't believe we're about to finish part 3. So let me finish this up real quick. So as Naruto makes more inventions, makes more of his armors, he captures a lot of the tough beasts, so he seals them inside of a VG reactor and construct his plan to go outer space. And that's exactly what he does. He starts building a spaceship, and it took a really long time, you could say. Alright, this is the end of part 3. Please watch part 4 and you should be okay.